In this world, where chaos and uncertainty reign, it is only through the mastery of our own minds that we can achieve true transformation. The Stoic principles, timeless in their wisdom, offer us a path to not merely exist, but to thrive amidst life's trials. In these principles lies the secret to a life not dictated by external events, but by the steadfastness of our own character. To transform your life, you must first transform your perception of it. It is not the world that controls your fate, but the choices you make in how you respond to it. The teachings of the Stoics invite us to embrace discomfort, to embrace control over what we can, and to find peace in the face of adversity. The following principles will guide you towards that transformation, showing you how to live in harmony with nature, cultivate inner resilience, and build a life rooted in virtue. Stand firm, for through these teachings you shall become the master of your own destiny. The power of acceptance. In this life there is one truth that we must accept above all else. We do not have control over everything. The world moves in its course, and we, as mere participants, can only influence what lies within our power. The sooner we come to accept this, the sooner we liberate ourselves from the chains of frustration and anxiety. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of all wisdom begins with acceptance. Acceptance of what is, without resistance, without desire to bend the world to our will. We must first understand that what happens to us is not the true measure of our lives. Life is filled with events, some within our control, many outside of it. We will face setbacks, hardships, losses, and failures. These are not signs of weakness or failure in themselves, but simply the nature of the world. What we must master is our response to these events. It is not the events that define us, but our interpretation of them, our response, and how we align ourselves with the truth of their existence. Acceptance is not about passivity nor about submission. It is the active recognition that the world will not always bend to our desires. To accept the things we cannot change is to release the weight of constant struggle. It is to free ourselves from the futile pursuit of control over the uncontrollable. In the moment we relinquish this struggle, we begin to find clarity. We can focus on the only thing we truly have power over: our own actions, our thoughts, and our judgments. The Stoic understands that external events are indifferent to our desires. They come and go without regard for our wishes. The storms of life will come, but it is our inner calm that determines how we weather them. A wise person does not demand that the world cater to their whims. Instead, they accept the ebb and flow of life as it is, understanding that their peace lies in their ability to remain unmoved by the tides of fortune. Acceptance also means embracing the impermanence of all things. Everything is fleeting: the good, the bad, the painful, and the joyous. In accepting this truth, we no longer become overly attached to moments or circumstances. We understand that nothing lasts forever, and we learn to cherish the present moment without clinging to it. It is in this acceptance of transience that we find true freedom. We are no longer prisoners to the past or anxious for the future, for we see that everything is in constant flux. In practicing acceptance, we come to understand that resistance is the cause of much of our suffering. When we resist reality, when we struggle against the flow of life, we create unnecessary pain. We make ourselves miserable by wishing for things to be different than they are. This resistance comes from our desires, our attachment to what we think we want or deserve. But the Stoic knows that true peace is found in the absence of attachment, in the freedom of letting go. When we accept the present as it is, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth and improvement. We are no longer trapped by the need for perfection or the desire for control. Acceptance creates space for us to be present, to be mindful of the moment, and to act from a place of clarity. It is the gateway through which we can develop wisdom, because it frees us from the distractions of regret and longing. Consider for a moment a person who is confronted with an unexpected hardship. Their first instinct may be to protest, to rail against the injustice of it all. But the Stoic asks, what can I control in this moment? If the hardship is beyond their control, they accept it. They do not waste energy wishing it were different. Instead, they turn inward, seeking to master their own response. They know that their power lies not in changing the external circumstances, but in shaping their internal state. In your own life, you will face many challenges. There will be moments when things do not go as planned, when the path ahead is unclear, when pain seems unbearable. In those moments, remember this: your suffering is not caused by the event itself, but by your resistance to it. In accepting what is, you cease to suffer in vain. You become like a rock in a stream, unmoved by the current. The world may rush around you, but you remain rooted in your acceptance of the present. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It does not mean that you cease to strive, to work towards bettering yourself or your circumstances. It means that you no longer waste your energy fighting the inevitable. Instead of being consumed by what you cannot control, you direct your efforts toward what is within your power. You focus on your actions, your thoughts, and your choices. Through acceptance, you cultivate peace. You stop the endless chase for things that are outside your reach. You understand that the pursuit of happiness is not found in external acquisitions or outcomes, but in the mastery of your own mind. True happiness comes from accepting life as it is and choosing how you will respond to it. In this acceptance, you find strength. You discover that you are not a victim of life's circumstances, but the master of your own destiny. So, as you walk this path, remember, acceptance is not a passive act, but a powerful choice. It is the recognition that you can always control your response to life's trials. It is in accepting the present, as imperfect as it may be, that you begin to unlock the power to transform your life. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. In this life, there is only one thing we can control: our own thoughts and actions. Everything else, the actions of others, the course of events, the outcome of our endeavors, lies beyond our grasp. The wise person understands this truth and aligns their focus solely on that which is within their control. By doing so, they free themselves from the suffering that comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. This principle is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, and it is a guiding light for those seeking peace in the midst of a tumultuous world. The truth is simple. There are many things we desire to control, many things we believe should go our way. Yet, the more we cling to these desires, the more we suffer when things do not unfold as we wish. Life is filled with uncertainties and forces beyond our will. When we try to impose our will on these things, we create internal turmoil. We struggle against reality, against the flow of nature, and we are ultimately defeated by it. To master the art of living, one must first master the art of letting go. Let go of the need to control everything outside of yourself. Let go of the obsession with outcomes, for they are beyond your power. Focus instead on the process, the choices you make, the thoughts you entertain, the actions you take. This is where your power lies. Your energy should be directed toward improving yourself, cultivating your character, and living virtuously, rather than trying to dictate the world around you. There is great peace in this understanding. When you let go of the need to control the uncontrollable, you release the burden of frustration, anxiety, and fear. You stop holding on to things that are not yours to hold. You stop chasing things that do not matter. The Stoic knows that by accepting the limitations of their control, they gain mastery over themselves. They cultivate a sense of calm that is impervious to the winds of fortune. This is the essence of resilience, knowing what is within your control and letting go of the rest. Think about the things that cause you distress in life. Perhaps it is the behavior of others. You may find yourself angered by someone's words or actions, wishing they would act differently. Yet, the Stoic understands that the actions of others are beyond their control. We cannot make people behave the way we want, nor should we expect them to. They too are governed by their own thoughts, beliefs, and desires. To waste energy trying to control them is to give away our power. Instead, direct your attention to your own response. You cannot control how others act, but you can control how you respond to them. You can choose to remain calm, to let go of your judgment, to practice understanding and empathy. In this, you take ownership of your peace. The actions of others may stir you, but they do not have to disturb you. This is the path of the wise, responding with virtue, no matter the provocations of the world. Similarly, the Stoic understands that many events are outside of their control. The weather, the economy, the actions of the government, even the state of the world. None of these things can be controlled. And yet, how often do we find ourselves frustrated or upset by them? How often do we waste time lamenting the things we cannot change? This is a trap. It is a fool's errand to focus on what cannot be changed. The Stoic teaches us that our focus should always be on what is within our power. When we direct our energy toward actions we can influence, we live with purpose, with intention, and with clarity. This does not mean that we abandon ambition or cease to strive for change. Quite the opposite. The Stoic is driven by a deep sense of purpose. However, their purpose is always rooted in their own actions, in their ability to act virtuously, to improve themselves, and to contribute to the world in ways that are within their control. When you focus on what you can control, your character, your habits, your responses to life's challenges, you cultivate strength, you cultivate resilience, and in this you cultivate peace. To master this principle is to stop fighting the inevitable. It is to recognize that some things are beyond our reach, and that by accepting this fact, we can stop wasting our energy in futile resistance. You will never be able to control the course of events, but you can control how you prepare for them. You cannot control the words others speak, but you can control your own thoughts and reactions. You cannot change the past, but you can learn from it and shape your future. The great power of this principle lies in its ability to shift your focus. Instead of being consumed by the uncontrollable, you focus on what you can do in this moment. This is where true freedom lies. It is not in manipulating the world around you, but in mastering your own mind, in cultivating your own virtue, in choosing to live according to your highest values, regardless of the circumstances. So, when life presents you with challenges, do not waste your time lamenting what cannot be changed. Instead, ask yourself, what can I control in this moment? What can I do to move forward, to grow, to become better? And when you focus on this, you will find that the things you once feared, the things you once fought against, lose their power over you. They no longer have the ability to disturb your peace. You have become the master of your own life, the captain of your own soul. In the end, the Stoics' wisdom is simple. Control what you can and let go of what you can't. In this, you find not only peace, but the strength to rise above the trials of life. You find the power to transform yourself, to live with purpose and to act with virtue, no matter the circumstances. Embrace discomfort as a path to growth. In the modern world, we are often taught to avoid discomfort. We seek comfort in every form: soft cushions, warm beds, pleasant surroundings, and easy lives. But the Stoic understands a truth that eludes many. Discomfort is not to be avoided. It is to be embraced, for it is through discomfort that we grow, that we become stronger, and that we unlock the potential within us. To avoid discomfort is to avoid the very path that leads to transformation. Instead, they embrace them, knowing that through these discomforts, they have the chance to refine their character. In life, discomfort often comes in the form of adversity. We may lose a job, face the end of a relationship, or experience failure. These moments of hardship can feel overwhelming, and it is natural to want to escape them. But the Stoic knows that it is in these moments that we are given the greatest opportunity for growth. Adversity reveals our weaknesses, shows us where we need to improve, and tests our ability to remain steadfast in the face of hardship. The Stoic does not complain or resist these moments, but instead embraces them. They look at adversity not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone on the path to greater wisdom and strength. The key to embracing discomfort is in our perception of it. When we view discomfort as a challenge to be overcome, rather than a threat to our well-being, we transform our relationship with it. Discomfort becomes something to be conquered, not feared. We begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, a sign that we are stretching ourselves, that we are becoming better versions of ourselves. Instead of avoiding the discomfort, we seek it out, knowing that it is in these moments that we find our true strength. This mindset is crucial to the Stoic way of life. The Stoic does not view hardship as something to be feared, but as something to be welcomed. They do not shy away from challenges, but meet them head-on, confident in their ability to endure and to learn from the experience. Every discomfort, every trial, is an opportunity to test and strengthen their character. The Stoic sees life not as a series of pleasant experiences to be sought, but as a journey filled with challenges, to be faced with courage and resolve. In practical terms, this means that we must not shy away from the things that make us uncomfortable. We must push ourselves to take on challenges that test our limits, whether they are physical, emotional, or mental. Whether it is a difficult conversation we must have, a task we must complete, or a fear we must face, we must not allow fear or discomfort to hold us back, but rather use them as fuel to propel ourselves forward. To embrace discomfort is to embrace life itself. Life is not meant to be lived in a state of constant ease and pleasure. It is meant to be lived with purpose, with effort, and with the resilience to face whatever comes our way. The Stoic understands this and welcomes discomfort as an essential part of that process. They know that true growth comes only through struggle, and that by embracing discomfort, they become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at them. So, when discomfort comes your way, do not shy away from it. Do not wish for an easier path. Instead, see it as an opportunity. Embrace it with open arms, knowing that it is through this discomfort that you will find your true strength. The path to growth is never easy, but it is always worth it. The Stoic knows this, and they walk that path with courage, with resolve, and with the unshakable belief that every trial, every discomfort is a step toward becoming the best version of themselves. Practice mindful reflection daily. The path to wisdom is not found in the chaotic rush of life, but in the quiet moments of introspection. The Stoic knows that it is not enough to simply live each day without examining the choices, the thoughts, and the actions that shape our lives. To master oneself, one must look inward. To achieve clarity, one must engage in daily reflection, for it is through this practice that we come to understand our true nature, our values, and our purpose. Mindful reflection is the art of pausing, taking a step back and examining the events of the day with a clear and objective mind. It is not merely about recalling what happened, but about assessing how we responded, what we could have done better, and what lessons we can learn for the future. The Stoic does not move through life blindly or without awareness. Each day is an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to learn from the mistakes of yesterday and to realign oneself with the virtues that guide us toward a life of purpose and integrity. To practice mindful reflection is to cultivate the habit of self-awareness. It requires discipline to take the time each day to sit in silence, to look inward, and to ask the difficult questions. What did I do today? How did I respond to challenges? Did I act with virtue, or did I let my emotions dictate my actions? Did I live in accordance with my values, or was I swayed by external circumstances? These are the questions that the Stoic ask themselves in their moments of reflection. This practice is not about self-criticism, but about self-awareness and growth. The Stoic does not judge themselves harshly, but instead seeks to understand where they went wrong and how they can improve. They know that perfection is not the goal, wisdom is. They understand that to grow, we must first acknowledge our shortcomings, without shame or fear. By doing so, we free ourselves from the grip of ignorance and move closer to becoming the person we are meant to be. In the practice of daily reflection, the Stoic also takes stock of the events outside of their control. They reflect on how they responded to situations that were beyond their influence, whether those responses were guided by virtue or by irrational emotion. The Stoic does not blame external circumstances for their emotional state, but instead examines how their mind reacted to those circumstances. Did they let the behavior of others disturb their peace? Did they allow external events to dictate their mood? Or did they maintain control over their thoughts and actions, responding with equanimity and reason? Mindful reflection also involves examining our desires. The Stoic is keenly aware of the power of desires to lead us astray. They know that desires for wealth, status, comfort, and pleasure can cloud their judgment and distract them from the true path. At the end of each day, the Stoic reflects on whether they were led by their desires or whether they acted in accordance with their highest values. Were they content with what they had? Or did they find themselves yearning for more? Did they seek fleeting pleasures at the cost of their long-term peace? These reflections are not meant to make us feel guilty, but to encourage us to reorient ourselves toward what truly matters: virtue, wisdom, and inner tranquility. It is important to remember that this process of reflection is not a one-time practice, but a daily commitment. Each day presents new challenges, new opportunities for growth, and new chances to align ourselves with the Stoic virtues. By reflecting daily, we make it a habit to continuously evaluate our actions, to adjust our course when necessary, and to strive for constant improvement. The Stoic knows that this is the only way to live a life of purpose and integrity. We can make things better for ourselves, improve our condition, and take the stress off ourselves, to live each day as if it is a chance to become better than we were yesterday. To aid in this practice, many Stoics keep a journal. Writing down thoughts, actions, and reflections provides a tangible record of progress and a way to track the journey toward wisdom. It allows us to see patterns in our behavior, to notice where we have fallen short, and to celebrate where we have succeeded. A journal serves as a mirror, reflecting back to us the choices we make and the person we are becoming. The Stoic also understands that reflection is not just about looking back, but also about looking forward. It is an opportunity to set intentions for the day ahead, to consider how we will act in the face of challenges, and to remind ourselves of our highest principles. Before we rise from our morning meditation, we reflect on what virtues we will practice today. Will we focus on patience, courage, kindness, or humility? Will we meet adversity with grace, or will we allow it to disturb our peace? This forward-looking reflection sets the tone for the day, aligning our actions with our higher purpose. Daily reflection also offers us the chance to practice gratitude. The Stoic does not take anything for granted. They understand that life is fragile and fleeting, and that even in the most difficult circumstances, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude strengthens the mind, reminding us that even in adversity, there is always something worth appreciating. Through daily, mindful reflection, the Stoic cultivates a mind that is focused, disciplined, and aligned with virtue. It is a practice that allows us to grow in wisdom, to develop resilience, and to live a life that is true to our values. By making reflection a daily habit, we commit ourselves to the constant improvement of our character. We come to understand ourselves more deeply, and we become more adept at navigating the challenges of life with grace and wisdom. In the end, the power of reflection lies in its ability to guide us toward greater self-awareness and understanding. It provides us with the clarity to see where we have strayed from the path and the wisdom to return to it. Through reflection, we do not just survive the storms of life, but we learn to sail through them with purpose, with confidence, and with peace. The Stoic knows that daily reflection is the key to living a life of virtue, and they make it a practice that guides them through each day toward a life of true wisdom and fulfillment. Live according to nature. The Stoic philosopher teaches us that to live well, we must align ourselves with nature. But what does it mean to live according to nature? Nature, in this sense, refers to the natural order of the universe, the laws that govern all things, including ourselves. To live according to nature is to understand our place in the world, to accept the inherent order of life, and to live in harmony with the forces that shape our existence. It is to understand that we are part of something greater, something beyond our individual desires and struggles, and that our true fulfillment comes from accepting the natural flow of life rather than resisting it. At the heart of living according to nature is the recognition that we are not separate from the world around us. We are interconnected with everything in the universe, every person, every living creature, and every element that makes up the cosmos. The Stoic believes that by observing the natural world, we can learn valuable lessons about how to live. Nature is not arbitrary or chaotic. It follows a pattern, a rhythm, a purpose. The trees grow, the seasons change, the sun rises and sets, all in their own time, in accordance with the laws of nature. In the same way, we must live our lives in accordance with the natural order, accepting that there are seasons in our own lives, that we too must grow, change, and adapt. This idea of living in accordance with nature also extends to our own nature as human beings. What does it mean to be human? To be human is to possess reason, to be capable of rational thought and deliberation, to have the ability to choose how we respond to the world around us. The Stoic teaches us that our highest virtue is the ability to live according to reason, to live in harmony with our rational nature. This is the path to true freedom, not to be ruled by our impulses, emotions, or external circumstances, but to live according to the rational principles that govern the universe. Living according to nature means accepting that life is not always going to unfold as we wish. There will be hardship, there will be loss, there will be things beyond our control. Yet, in the face of these challenges, the Stoic knows that we must maintain our composure and continue to live with purpose. It is not the events themselves that shape us, but our response to them. If we live in accordance with our rational nature, we understand that adversity is part of the natural order of life. We accept it not with resistance, but with calm and reasoned determination. Just as the tree bends in the wind, so too must we bend in the face of life's trials, without breaking, without losing our peace. Living according to nature also means accepting the impermanence of life. The Stoic understands that all things are transient. The seasons change, youth fades, and everything we hold dear will eventually pass. But this is not something to fear. It is simply part of the natural order. Just as a flower blooms and then fades away, so too will our lives unfold. The Stoic teaches us to embrace this truth, to live with the understanding that nothing lasts forever, and that this impermanence makes life all the more precious. By living in harmony with the natural cycles of life, we learn to appreciate the moments we have without clinging to them or fearing their eventual loss. This acceptance of impermanence does not mean that we are passive in our lives. On the contrary, it means that we must act with purpose, with intention, and with awareness of the fleeting nature of time. The Stoic does not waste their time on things that do not matter, but dedicates themselves to the pursuit of virtue, to living with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. They understand that time is limited, and so they use it wisely, focusing on what is truly important, developing their character, contributing to the well-being of others, and living in accordance with their highest values. To live according to nature also means embracing our duties as human beings. We are part of a larger community, and we have responsibilities to others. The Stoic does not seek to live in isolation, but to fulfill their role in society with integrity and honor. This means being a good family member, a good friend, a good citizen, and a good person. It means fulfilling our obligations to others, not because we are forced to, but because it is in accordance with our nature as social beings. The Stoic understands that we are not solitary creatures, but that our true fulfillment comes from our relationships with others and our contributions to the common good. Living according to nature also requires us to cultivate the virtue of acceptance. There are many things in life that we cannot change. We cannot control the actions of others. We cannot control the future, and we cannot control the circumstances of our birth. But we can control how we respond to these things. To live according to nature is to accept the things we cannot change and to focus our energy on the things we can. It is to understand that resistance to the natural flow of life only causes suffering. The Stoic teaches us that we must accept life as it comes, with gratitude for what we have and the wisdom to know what is within our power to change. The Stoic also teaches us that we must cultivate a sense of detachment from the external world. We cannot control the outcomes of our efforts, and we cannot guarantee that things will go as we hope. But by living according to nature, we come to understand that our true happiness does not lie in the things we acquire, the successes we achieve, or the approval of others. True happiness comes from within, from living a life of virtue and wisdom, regardless of the circumstances. The Stoic does not attach their sense of self-worth to external success or failure, but finds fulfillment in their ability to live in accordance with their highest values. In practice, living according to nature means that we are constantly aligning our actions with the natural order of the universe. It means that we are aware of the rhythms of life, the cycles of nature, and the role we play within this grand scheme. It means understanding that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, and that our true purpose is to live a life of virtue in harmony with the world around us. By living in accordance with nature, we free ourselves from the tyranny of our desires, from the chaos of the external world, and from the fear of death and loss. We learn to live with acceptance, with peace, and with purpose. And in this we find true freedom. The Stoic knows that to live according to nature is to live in accordance with the truth, and that this is the only path to a fulfilled and meaningful life. Master your emotions. Do not be controlled by them. One of the greatest challenges we face in life is our emotional response to the events around us. Emotions, whether anger, fear, sadness, or joy, are powerful forces that can either guide us to wisdom or lead us astray. The Stoic teaches us that emotions, in and of themselves, are neither good nor bad. They are natural responses to our experiences. What matters is not whether we feel emotions, but how we manage them. The Stoic understands that emotions are not to be suppressed or ignored, but to be understood and controlled, so they do not control us. The Stoic approach to emotions begins with understanding that we are responsible for how we respond to the world. We cannot always control the things that happen to us, nor can we control the actions of others, but we can always control how we react. Our emotions, while natural, are not inevitable. They are the result of how we interpret and evaluate external events. Two people can experience the same event. One may be filled with anger, the other with calm acceptance. The difference lies not in the event itself, but in the way each person chooses to interpret and respond to it. Take, for example, the emotion of anger. Anger arises when we feel that something has been unjust, when we perceive an offense, or when we are wronged. But the Stoic teaches us that anger is not a justified response to injustice. It is not our place to become consumed by rage, to seek revenge, or to allow the anger to control our actions. The Stoic understands that anger only disturbs the mind, clouds judgment, and leads to rash decisions. Instead, they respond with reason. They ask themselves, what is in my control? What can I do to remedy this situation with wisdom? And what must I accept as outside my influence? In this way, the Stoic removes the power of anger and chooses a path of rational thought and calm action. This principle extends beyond anger. Fear, another common emotion, can also be crippling if allowed to take hold. Fear arises from our perception of threat or danger, yet the Stoic reminds us that fear is often a product of our imagination. The things we fear are often not as dangerous as we imagine them to be. Fear, like anger, arises from how we interpret events, not from the events themselves. The Stoic, when faced with fear, does not let it control their actions. Instead, they use their rational mind to assess the situation objectively. Is the fear based on a real threat? If so, what actions can I take to face it with courage? If not, how can I quiet the irrational thoughts that fuel my fear? Through this process of self-examination, the Stoic diminishes the power of fear and acts with calm resolve. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that emotions, though natural, can be harmful if allowed to rule our lives. Emotions often arise from false beliefs or misguided judgments. We believe that certain outcomes are essential for our happiness, that certain people must behave in certain ways, or that we are entitled to things that we do not have. These false beliefs, when unchallenged, lead to the eruption of negative emotions. But the Stoic teaches us that we are not entitled to anything beyond what is in our control. The world does not owe us happiness, comfort, or fairness. To believe otherwise is to set ourselves up for emotional turmoil. Therefore, by understanding the true nature of what is within our control and what is not, we can free ourselves from the grip of destructive emotions. The key to mastering our emotions is self-awareness. To master your emotions, you must first be aware of them. This means paying attention to how you feel in response to events, both large and small. When we experience anger, sadness, or fear, we must take a step back and ask ourselves, why do I feel this way? What belief or judgment is causing this emotion? The Stoic does not simply act on their emotions without thought. They examine the thoughts that precede them and challenge them. Is the belief that caused my anger based on reason? Is the fear that I feel justified by the reality of the situation, or is it based on an irrational belief about the future? Through this process of self-examination, we can learn to control our emotional responses and avoid being swept away by them. Another vital aspect of emotional mastery is acceptance. There are times in life when things will not go as we wish. People will disappoint us, events will unfold in ways we did not expect, and circumstances will arise that are beyond our control. In these moments, the Stoic does not allow their emotions to spiral out of control. Instead, they accept what is outside of their influence. They understand that while they cannot change the external world, they can always choose how to respond to it. By accepting the things we cannot control, we release ourselves from the grip of frustration, anger, and fear, and we find peace in the present moment. Moreover, the Stoic understands that our emotional responses are often fleeting. The anger, the sadness, the fear, they will all pass in time, but only if we do not hold on to them. Emotions are like waves in the ocean. They rise and fall, but they do not last forever. To hold on to negative emotions is to trap ourselves in the past, preventing us from moving forward. The Stoic practices detachment, recognizing that emotions are temporary and not worth clinging to. They let them pass through them without being consumed by them, returning to a state of calm and clarity. This is not to say that the Stoic does not experience joy or love. Far from it. The Stoic is fully capable of feeling joy, but they do so with awareness. The Stoic takes pleasure in the things that are virtuous, acts of kindness, moments of beauty, the fulfillment of their duties, and the growth of their own character. They do not seek fleeting pleasures, nor do they attach their sense of self-worth to external circumstances. Their joy comes from living in accordance with virtue, from knowing that they are acting in alignment with their highest values. To master your emotions is to take control of your own mind. It is to recognize that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. The Stoic does not allow their emotions to dictate their actions or to cloud their judgment. Instead, they respond with reason, with clarity, and with virtue. They accept that emotions are a natural part of being human, but they do not let them rule their lives. By practicing self-awareness, acceptance, and detachment, the Stoic learns to live a life of emotional mastery, one that is guided by wisdom, not by the capriciousness of fleeting feelings. When you master your emotions, you free yourself from the chaos of external circumstances. You become a force of calm and clarity in a world that is often filled with turmoil and confusion. The Stoic knows that by controlling their emotions, they can navigate life with steady resolve, facing challenges with equanimity and making choices that are guided by reason and virtue. This is the true power of emotional mastery. Not to suppress or deny our feelings, but to understand them, control them, and rise above them to live a life of purpose, peace, and wisdom.